Imagine waking up one morning and the very force that keeps you tethered to the ground, the force holding planets in their cosmic dance, it's just gone. Poof. Zero gravity. Everything you know, just adrift. That's the, well, mind-bending idea we're exploring today, the day gravity vanished. Poof. In this deep dive, we're going to unpack the immediate chaos, the, desperate struggle for survival, and the profound scientific implications, all drawing from the compelling insights and the source material you've shared. It's really going to challenge, I think, everything you thought you knew about your place in the universe.
Absolutely. And to really grasp the sheer scale of this disruption, it's essential to first understand just how fundamental gravity's role actually is. We often take it for granted, right? But it's the invisible architect of our reality, silently dictating everything from how our bodies work to how galaxies form. Without it, everything changes.
Okay, let's unpack this then. So you open your eyes. First thing you feel is just pure weightlessness. You're drifting upwards, off your bed. The source describes this initial feeling as, like, exhilarating. Like being in one of those zero-G chambers, you might even push off a wall, just glide, but then you look at the window, and that excitement just melts, turns into pure dread.
Oh, completely.
Cars are floating, trees uprooting themselves, people drifting aimlessly into the sky. The world you know is just unraveling. Sounds like a nightmare.
It is a nightmare, absolutely. Because the fascinating thing here is the immediate disruption to even the most basic movements. Walking, forget it. It becomes utterly impossible. There's no force keeping your feet down. So every single action sends you spinning or drifting off in some unpredictable direction. Imagine trying to just cross a room and become this constant disorienting struggle.
So your morning commute is out. Getting a glass of water is suddenly like a major mission. How do you even start to take care of basic needs when reality's rules are just shattered?
Well, eating and drinking would become a logistical nightmare. Liquids, right? They're not held in containers anymore. They form these floating spheres that just drift away. Trying to sip water means you're literally chasing droplets through the air.
Chasing water droplets.
Yeah. And food. It just hovers, making it almost impossible to eat without inhaling crumbs, which in weightlessness is a serious choking hazard. It sounds almost funny chasing floating food, but what's really striking is how gravity isn't just pulling things down. It's silently helping with every swallow, every breath. Its absence just reveals this incredibly intricate biological dance we take for granted.
Okay, what about something even more fundamental, like breathing? Wouldn't the air just stay put?
That's the really terrifying part. Because no, it wouldn't. Earth's atmosphere is held here by gravity. That's a concept we almost never think about. Without that pull, air molecules would immediately start to disperse. Just poof, into space.
Immediately? Like how fast?
You might not notice it right away, maybe the first few minutes. But within hours, the air would thin dramatically, oxygen levels would plummet, leading really quickly to dizziness and then unconsciousness.
Within hours, so the entire planet basically becomes a vacuum incredibly fast. That's, wow, much faster than I would have imagined. And if the air's going, what happens to communication? I mean, phones, radio, sound itself?
You're right to think about that. Sound waves need air to travel. Right, so as the atmosphere leaks away, sound becomes muffled. Then just silence. Radios, electronics might work for a little bit locally. But the big problem, satellites. Everything we rely on for global networks, GPS, weather, talking across the globe, they're now just drifting aimlessly. Those systems would completely collapse.
Okay, so individual survival is already looking grim. But let's zoom out, like you said, broaden the scope from my living room to the whole planet. What happens to Earth itself when gravity just switches off?
The consequences would be, well, catastrophic doesn't really cover it. Buildings, for instance, they're designed with gravity. Without it, their components just float apart. They'd crumble.
So all our infrastructure, everything built thinking down exists, just disintegrates. What about things built really strong, like for earthquakes or wind?
That's a good question. But they're still fundamentally designed to distribute weight downwards. Without that foundational force, even reinforced concrete just dissociates. Components floating apart like, I don't know, Lego bricks after someone kicked the table.
Okay, that's buildings. What about the oceans?
The oceans, no longer bound to the surface, would form these massive shimmering blobs of water. And these huge water blobs would then just drift off into space, leaving behind completely dry ocean beds, devastating every ecosystem.
Massive. Shimmering globs. Drifting off. That image is both weirdly beautiful and absolutely terrifying. Our whole water cycle just stops.
Exactly. Gone. And beyond that, Earth's rotation itself, normally stabilized by its mass and gravity, right? It would become incredibly erratic. Without gravity, The planet's spin could cause it to wobble violently, maybe even break apart, sending huge chunks of land flying into space.
Break apart the whole planet.
It's possible. And the moon. No longer held in orbit by Earth's gravity, it just drifts away too, disrupting any remaining tides, further destabilizing everything.
It's just total cosmic dismantling. And our eyes in the sky, the satellites, you mentioned they drift, but
Gone. Absolutely gone in terms of usefulness.
they're critical, right?
Communication, navigation, weather, they spiral out of orbit. Some might smash into each other, create even more dangerous space junk. Others just float off into deep space. Humanity would be completely disconnected, blind.
It's clear the world becomes unrecognizable, but this really makes you wonder, what is gravity, fundamentally? Why does its presence matter so much?
Well, at its core, according to Einstein's theory of general relativity, gravity isn't really a force like magnetism, It's actually the warping of space-time itself, caused by massive objects. The more massive something is, the stronger its gravitational pull, the deeper the warp it creates. And what's really profound about Einstein's idea is that gravity isn't some invisible rope pulling us down. It's the actual geometry of space and time bending around us. Think about that. The ground under your feet isn't just solid. It's like riding a curve in the universe itself.
That is a mind-bending thought. We're just following curves in space-time. Makes you realize how deeply embedded gravity is, even when we're not consciously feeling it.
Exactly. Its effects are so ingrained in daily life we barely notice. How we move, how things fall, how liquids behave. Without it, the physical world just doesn't work the same. Like on a planet with weaker gravity, Mars, for example, you'd weigh less, move totally differently. But go somewhere with much stronger gravity, Jupiter maybe. You'd just be crushed by your own weight.
And we've actually seen proof of this space-time warping, haven't we? It's not just theory anymore.
We have. That's the amazing part. Think about gravitational waves. These tiny ripples in space-time itself, caused by huge cosmic events like black holes merging. They were detected by LIGO, that massive experiment back in 2015. It was huge news. Their discovery didn't just prove Einstein right again, it opened up totally new ways to study the universe. It really emphasizes gravity isn't just local, it's a cosmic force shaping everything.
Okay, so if gravity vanished permanently, it wouldn't just mess up Earth. What are the ultimate consequences for life, for the whole universe?
Well, first, the dissolution of our solar system. It would be inevitable. Without the sun's gravity holding everything together, the planets just drift apart.
Yeah.
The whole solar system structure ceases to exist. That beautiful ordered dance we see, it just stops.
Leaving just empty space where we used to be. Wow.
Pretty much. An even bigger picture, star formation would stop completely. Gravity is essential for pulling those giant clouds of gas and dust together to form new stars. Without it, the universe just becomes this sparse, chaotic void, no structure.
No new stars.
Which means no new heavy elements, no new planets, no new places for life, like ours, to potentially emerge down the line. It's the end of cosmic evolution as we know it.
And life on Earth? Any chance?
The immediate loss of gravity. It'd likely be fatal for most life. Plants rely on gravity for roots to grow down, right? They'd wither almost instantly. Animals, unable to adapt to permanent weightlessness, they'd perish. Humans. Maybe we could survive briefly in perfectly sealed, pressurized environments, spacesuits, sealed rooms. But without a stable atmosphere, without the resources gravity helps manage, long-term survival looks impossible.
Is there any glimmer of hope here? Could human ingenuity figure anything out, even temporary solutions?
Short-term. Adaptations would be all about mastering movement and weightlessness, maybe using tethered ropes to pull yourself along, or personal jetpacks, perhaps.
So using a jetpack just to get across the room for a drink suddenly becomes normal life.
Slight chuckle. Yeah, something like that. For basic needs, you'd absolutely need sealed containers to trap food, trap water. And for breathing, pressurized spaces are key. Sealed rooms, maybe adapting spacesuit technology somehow.
Okay, short-term survival tech. What about long-term?
Long-term, the only real strategies are, find a way to restore gravity, which seems scientifically impossible right now, or escape. Escape to a planet that still has gravity. Space stations, they're designed for zero-G, so they could be temporary refuges, maybe, but only if they could be made totally self-sustaining.
But then you're talking about finding an Earth-like exoplanet in a universe where the fundamental force that makes planets orbit stars has just vanished everywhere. That sounds like searching for a needle in a cosmic haystack that doesn't even exist anymore.
It would be an incredibly daunting logistical challenge. Probably impossible, realistically.
This whole thought experiment, it just hammers home gravity's essential role, doesn't it? It's not just a force, it's the glue holding our world together, air, oceans, us on the ground. Its disappearance plunges us into a reality that's just unrecognizable, every moment a struggle.
Exactly. What this deep dive really highlights are gravity's indispensable functions. It shapes our environment, it governs our movement, it connects us to the whole cosmos. Without it, we'd be adrift, literally and, figuratively, in a universe completely without order.
So, after hearing all this, it leaves a big question for you listening. What would you do if gravity vanished tomorrow? Would you embrace the chaos, try to adapt somehow, or immediately start searching for a way out, a way to escape? We'll leave you to ponder that one.